Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Pulp Blotter Book Club on 22 Panels. I am joined again by Chicago actor Sean Harkleroad and Chicago actor and playwright of the Four Color series of plays, Mr. Mark Pratt. I noticed that you have it as Four Color series now rather than Four Color trilogy in your
Four color
your
plays, yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
because it's looking more and more likely that there's going to be another one. So
another one.
we will see when and if that shows up. But
What's going on with the music one that you were doing in between though?
oh,
Is that landed somewhere?
it hasn't landed anywhere. I'm
Okay.
still working on that.
Okay.
I have the not to get off subject. What else do we do here? But
Plugging
uh,
stuff is on subject, Mark.
uh, Uh, we have made some headway in a Western adaptation that I've been working on.
Oh, cool.
I because we are still communicating with the rights holders about getting the rights to do it. I can't really say what it is or when it will happen, but the idea is that it would be not in this coming season at City Lit Theater, but in the following season. So,
Cool, cool.
as long as we can clear the rights, which is up in the air at the moment. Headway has been
Right.
made, but don't want to. I don't want to jinx it.
Have we done a Western yet on the Pulp Plotter?
We did Pulp,
Well, we did Pulp, which is kind of a Western and
kind of a
kind of a
Western.
crime story. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could do there's any number of stuff that we could do as far
There
as
are.
Westerns.
There are. That just popped into my head as you said Western.
I mean,
So,
I'm a massive, massive fan of the Palmiotti Jonah Hex series that was
okay.
in the early 2000s, I guess. I think so.
Which I've only read some of, so I wouldn't mind an
Oh,
excuse to read that.
so good.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like I I always loved it because they sort of ejected most of the really uh weird Western tale kind of thing of it. It was more of a straight ahead Western. It was sort of like a Clint Eastwood kind of thing. I really loved it.
Cool.
I thought it was really cool.
Can I introduce you gentlemen in a series called Gun Hawks?
Yeah.
Gunhawks. Gunhawks has a huge history with I was there. Did you get the last two issues in my presence
So
or
I could not find the last issue to save my life. Uh, and I finally found it in the closet of my childhood bedroom after looking at multiple conventions.
Tad? I don't think Tad knows what the Gunhawks are.
I do because um David and Maria Lapham did a Gunhawks one shot with Luca Pizzari in 2019.
Amazing. I don't know. I didn't think you could probably do that series in a
Yeah,
modern context.
Marvel still has the
Well,
rights.
they've retconned it such that the series as we knew it was a pulp.
Ah,
It was like one of those like Western novels, and so
well,
that
that
was
sounds like
not
it's
the
maybe
true
right up
story.
our alley. But
I am checking right now to see if how much of Gunhawks is on Marvel Unlimited because
Harry
that
Friedrich.
would be what made it easiest for me. And the answer is the 2019 issue.
yeah.
Um, Otherwise, there was a 2006 issue called Marvel Westerns that
That
had
that that's the one that establishes that it was a pulp.
okay.
But I haven't read the 2019 one. The 2019 one is on Marvel though.
It is on Marvel Unlimited as well.
How did I miss a Gunhawks?
I don't know. I did not
I
miss it because while I might miss a Gunhawks, I do not miss David Lapham. That's just not allowed in my world.
you know, to anybody who's listening, who's like, "What the hell are the Gunhawks?" It's basically a Western version of Power Man and Iron Fist, essentially, right?
Right. He looks just like Luke Cage, really.
Hmm.
Um,
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Actually,
it's hard.
I mean, if we wanted to do a Western, another one that pops into my head that I would love to do is Blueberry.
oh God, oh Lord, yes, that stuff is amazing. Uh,
So
yeah,
he was a gunfighter before he became a blue ghost?
Jesus
No,
Christ,
that's
that's
Blueberry.
Booberry.
Oh, oh,
He's in a different comic.
oh, okay.
That would lead into a discussion of that movie version that apparently went completely off the rails because the director was on okay, was that AZT or oh God, what's that like performance enhancing shit that everybody all the big necks want to use? I think
Human growth hormone.
Like
Rogan's in.
GHB
Yeah,
or H, human
eh,
growth hormone.
whatever it is. I don't
ADH.
know. I don't know. It but apparently the director was on this stuff the whole time and like the entire production spun out of control. I I was reading a story about it, but it's Blueberry and it's based on the French.
Oh, I
I
I know
do
the movie you're talking about.
I
It's
do I
actually trippy and kind of cool. God, what's it called? I watched it recently.
I mean it was called Blueberry and then they changed the title, I
No,
think. And
okay, they changed the title. Yeah,
I think so. But anyway, um yeah, man, I to tell you the absolute truth, I have seen the art from Blueberry, but I have never read it. So
Renegade is
obviously,
what they called it
right. That's what it was.
in
Um,
2004. A French acid western.
Talking about French westerns making me think of Deerskin. You guys seen?
I haven't.
what was that one thing with the it was like it's
Jean
French.
Dujardin. Oh,
Yeah, no, it was God, what was it? It was I can't remember it now, but it was like it was a French film and it was this martial arts guy and they like fought werewolves or something. I don't know, it was crazy. I'll think of it someday.
I'm
Someday.
listening.
It's Duskatos or Mark. It's like the Brotherhood of the whatever. I'm never going to come up with that in the next 10 minutes. So
Now I'm wondering if there have ever been any OSS 117 comics.
Well, I look for that. Let's start talking.
well,
Um,
I have one thing to
some
say. I have
some
one thing.
shadow.
I have one thing to say about this Shadow series compared to the last Shadow graphic novel that we talked about, which was by basically the same creative team.
Right.
That's more, this is more like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this art,
Yeah.
Kaluta, is
Yeah.
just amazing, and Bernie filled in on one, and
Yeah.
Frank Robbins.
Frank Robbins. I know that Frank Robbins is a very divisive artist, but I love Frank Robbins. It's almost
Invaders.
yeah, I mean like yeah, Invaders. I mean like Frank Robbins almost feels kind of Kirby-esque to me in that he has his style and he just runs it right to the wall and just it's awesome. Yeah, I love Frank Robbins. I love his issues, but I mean, the Kaluta stuff is I did find myself wondering since, the digital version that I think we were all looking at looks like it's scanned right out of the books. And I just wonder if it's like the newsprint sopping up the art gives it sort of
It
that.
does feel like it is.
Yeah, it feels very pulp. I mean, for
Yeah, you
lack of
can
a better
occasionally
term,
kind of see the page behind it in the
the page behind
Yeah.
scan.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it also just in terms of, and I hate to just keep comparing it to the other one, but that the devils or the Hitler's, what was it? Hitler's, uh,
Hitler's
astrologer.
bodyguard or
Hitler's
astrologer.
Astrologer.
astrologer. Yeah. Like everything was so clean and it didn't, there weren't deep inky blacks. And man, like just right off the bat with this first issue, it's like just sopping in blacks. And I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I mean, I'm really glad that we decided to read these because I'd always heard about these books. I'd never gotten a chance to read them, and I fell in love with it. I think Denny is a great writer for this. The guy
I
Michael
think
Us.
I think it works really well episodically too. I
Mhm.
mean, I think that there were eight that were like fantastic, two that were good, and two that they weren't bad, right? There
Right.
weren't any bad ones. Um,
Well, I mean, that's sort of like it's sort of the nature of the whole pulp experience.
right.
You would get a new story every month, and God knows that all of those writers who were working on the pulp novels were being paid by the word. So,
I mean, it kind of felt like the first time was it Robbins stepped in for Kaluta. Um, he had the same or an incredibly similar script to the one that because they said at the back that the reason Robbins has stepped in was Kaluta was taking his time to really knock the.
Right.
And then the next issue had the same guy getting poisoned and whatnot. And I'm like, so Denny just like took the same script and moved some stuff a little, but it worked. It was
yeah.
fine. You
Well, I
know?
mean, and like, look, that's it. That's deeply in the spirit of these things because,
Right. One
you
time he was the
have,
ninja, and one time he was the mummy, but it
Yeah,
was
I
the
would
same.
say, well, maybe this is what you're going to say, Mark. So
yeah,
I would say when I was when I was reading more than one at a sitting, it wasn't great because it is such a formula that I that wasn't a great experience. But reading them, like one a day or whatever, which I typically did, I've read a few. And once you realize that it's going to be exactly, I mean, because it's like an episode of the show
yeah,
or the radio show.
yeah.
And so
Or
yeah,
one of
that was
the,
the only drawback. It was very formulaic, but they played around with it a lot, especially towards the middle of the run that I really enjoyed.
yeah,
Well,
no,
and go ahead, Mark.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say it also reminded me of what Denny. I mean, don't get me wrong. Denny writes just great stories where Denny's the star. He does plenty of that. But what he's also great at is like, oh, we need somebody to write this, and we've got an artist that can hold their shit together. I'm
Mhm.
gonna give them room to play. And I think he gives them more than like the Stan, hey, let's do the thing this week.
Right.
But like it's like my favorite Daredevil comics, I was just writing about them for American Nature Presents, are the O'Neill Mazzucchelli books.
Hmm.
Oh
As
yeah,
good
yeah.
as Born Again is, and I love Born Again. It's like because Miller had more of a vision. It's this great story, and it's probably the best arc. But most of the O'Neill Mazzucchellis are one shots or part of a loose arc or whatever, and it's like, O'Neill gave him enough that he knew what the assignment was, but David got to play.
Mhm.
And man, did he play. And I felt like there was some of that going on with this, is that it's like,
Well, I mean,
I
certainly,
mean,
like if you're like if you have an artist that can really do atmospheric, right?
right,
Then you're 50% of the way there with the shadow. I mean, really. Like I'm jumping ahead to issue 5 here, which is the first Frank Robbins one. Um and like it's it's so good. I mean, like he's got this whole thing with the the mist coming across and the shadows coming out of it, and it's just like the thing is like it is formula. I mean, like
right,
all of these characters are formula, right? It's always the same setup. It's always the same resolution. It's always the same thing. Like that's part of I think that's part of the pulp fiction. And again, I mean, what I mean is like characters like this that came directly out of those pulp novels, and the
right,
pulp periodicals, is that it was always, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So,
right.
and you're basically just looking for um new and interesting ways for the shadow to give somebody their comeuppance.
Sounds about right.
I mean, and the other thing is, you have here like the shadow, by the very nature of the character, is pretty much unknowable, right? There is no, there's a character, but the character is so swathed in no one knows who I am that there's
Right.
no, like, anybody who tries to do like a backstory of the shadow, it's like the movie they made in the 90s, which in a lot of ways I loved, right?
Yeah.
It's another one of those examples. A lot of those comic book based movies in the 90s have like these very early sequences, like the first 15 minutes or whatever, where you're like, wow, this is perfect. And then they decide they have to complicate things, right? And the thing is with the shadow, it's not really complicated. It's like he has no life. It's like Batman to the 100th degree. I even love there's that one issue in here where Margot Lane sort of suggests that Lamont Cranston is the shadow, and the shadow's like, no, Lamont is somewhere else doing something. And you're like, Jesus, is that true or not? Because the the sort of basic thinking at this point is that Lamont Cranston is the shadow. Is
Right.
he just lying to Margot? You know? Or
Well, I mean, and I don't know what's considered shadow canon and what's not. Um,
Well,
but
hey, man, I think that the shadow is Lamont Cranston, but
but
Lamont
Lamont
Cranston
Cranston
is
is
not
not
the shadow.
so what I was gonna say is that
that has made me happier than anything.
both um both Matt Wagner in the Shadow Year One and Andrew Helfer in his series with Bill Sienkiewicz, which is kind of a Shadow Returns type thing.
Hmm.
Um, kind of posit that he is and he isn't. There's a real Lamont Cranston that he assumed the identity of.
Right.
Um, so who exactly he is isn't
Well, I
dealt
mean,
with as much, but like
it's almost irrelevant, right? Like in
right,
a way, in a way, the Shadow is like even more than, and obviously, in the 30s and the 20s, there was a billion ripoff characters, right? There was the Spider, there was the Spectre, there was the blah blah blah, whatever, and they were all just like with comic books, like the second there was a huge hit, they were gonna like rip it off 100 times. But like you take the other like big pulp fiction characters. I mean, and really, when it comes to like classic pulp magazine fiction characters, you really only have the big two. You've got the Shadow and you got Doc Savage. And Doc Savage is nothing but backstory, right? He's like, you know, he's this child that's right. Like his scientific father, his scientist father, right, raises him to be the perfect human being, the perfect example of humanity, and he has this team of helpers that are all, and it's all tied into who his father was, and the Shadow is just the Shadow. He arrives, he kills a bunch of people, he dispenses justice, and then he disappears.
Or doesn't. In this version, he didn't do a lot of killing. He did a lot of shooting guns out of hands.
Sure, but I mean, but at the same time, like a lot of those guys, and this is probably the sensitivity of the comics of the time. It's a lot of,
Right.
I'm not I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you,
Right. Right. No, I
Uh,
was just I was mostly like mocking that because
sure.
you know it was almost funny sometimes when he
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
killing people with his guns.
Right.
Silver-plated 45s.
Right. So,
But yeah, no, I
He only
like
kills when he has to.
okay, Frank Castle.
No, I mean, he says
no,
that,
I
and
mean he
like,
kills whenever he feels like it.
right.
well, but he lets this one guy live. I can't remember which episode it is, which issue it's in, and the guy's like, "You're letting," like, guy's surprised, like, "You're letting me live," and he's like, "I only kill when I have to."
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, our
I only
definitions of have to are different.
Right.
I only kill when I have to.
But I mean, for 1973, 1974,
Right.
this was surprising. Uh,
Yeah.
just blowing people away. The guy who gets blown away in the electric chair,
Yeah.
that was a lot. Um,
Well, there's a definite EC vibe that comes through a lot of
definitely,
this stuff. Yeah.
I really felt particularly with Kaluta and also a bit with Frank Robbins. I think he may have been working kind of in that style. There was a lot of Jack Davis I felt
Oh yeah.
in this.
I
Uh,
mean, I would actually even say that I think that the Frank Robbins drawn issues of this run are cooler to me than the Kaluta drawn ones. I like that stylized thing,
yeah,
especially in this milieu. Um, I I I have to admit, like, uh, there's the one issue number 11 where the Shadow fights the Avenger and Justice Incorporated,
right.
and I know that's a classic pulp character as well, but I'm not as familiar with him. I think I picked up one or two of the more modern books that DC did, Justice Inc. Um, when he grabbed him and his face was malleable, I was like, "Whoa, what's that?" I don't know. I had so much fun reading these. And to what Sean said, I would read these when I was at the gym. So I would get on the the elliptical or whatever, and I would read one issue every day that I was at the gym, and then I would just put it away and I would go on to something else. And I think that that really is the best way to do it. And I think that that's the best way, like no matter what Shadow, if you're talking about really classic Shadow and not sort of revisionist Shadow or whatever, um, I think that's the best way to do it. Like those when the magazines came out, it was a month between each story. So, you had a lot of time to kind of let that sink in before another one came.
Makes sense to me. Well, no, I'm sorry. I said it makes sense to me.
I'm sorry. I was talking about before you spoke, Tad. It's fine.
I felt like I think around the fifth or sixth issue, they really started kind of having fun with it.
Yeah.
Like you went to, well, there's the Katharine Hepburn uh, issue,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yeah.
Who she looks like Katharine Hepburn. She's in the Pittsburgh story.
Yep.
Um, and it's a Quasimodo
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
That and the Mummy. I really enjoyed those because it was like it really felt like 1973, 1974. And Denny is like, let's do a Quasimodo. And
Yeah.
who is Quasimodo saving? Oh, Katharine Hepburn. Right?
You old coot.
Oh, that poor soul.
Actually,
Got him. He wouldn't
the
want me to cry for him, and I won't.
I actually love the mummy story where they're in the South American pyramid. And I was like, why the hell is there a mummy in a South American pyramid? And then somebody actually said that. They were like, no, normally these. And then that whole idea of where like Margot Lane is trying to figure out which one of the men is the shadow. Yeah. I
Yeah.
just it was so much fun. I just love the hell out of this. It was great. It actually, it's like as time has gone by, I've gotten so much more enamored with your Bronze Age books, the 70s stuff. Uh I just love rereading Bob Haney's Brave and Bold stuff. And it feels like I love this era of comics because it feels like there's some intention and effort being put into the narratives, but it doesn't feel trapped in some sort of need to connect with everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously we're talking about something that exists outside of like a DC universe, but uh, like, and part of this is the nature of the material we're talking about and the IP we're talking about is that, it doesn't connect. Like there's what is it, an issue, what is it, 5 with the general that's trying to endear himself to Nazi Germany or whatever it is, and
General Sodom.
Yeah. Yeah. That one.
When he returned, like I loved in the letter pages where they were like, somebody was like, oh, well, how could you kill General Sodom? He seemed like he could have been a great recurring villain. And they're like, who knows? Maybe he isn't dead. And I'm like, oh, he's going to come back with the Colonel Gamora.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, he's got that awful line of like, "Oh, don't kill Margot. She may be amusing to me later."
Yeah.
Right.
This guy's
Take
got
her to my bedroom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. This is the letter page. I just was flipping around and the letter page in issue 8. Uh, Dear editor, in your recent Tarzan Giant Collector's Edition, you stated that the Shadow was Kent Allard, alias Lamont Cranston. In your comic, you said that the Shadow poses as Lamont Cranston, but that is not his real name. Please give his real name, and please give us an origin. Thanks. David Saratag, Iowa City. The story in this issue establishes once and for all that Cranston and the Shadow are not all caps, the same person. As to who the shadow really is, well, we would need an origin tale to establish that, wouldn't we? David wants one, but our next correspondent, Ray Endelberg, feels differently. And Ray Endelberg has a very long letter that I won't read the other of it, but he's like, and let the origin of your titled character remain something only the shadow knows. I agree with Ray.
Once again, Ray ruins it for everyone.
Oh, no. I think Ray's right. Ray says no origin. I think that's better.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good mystery.
Well, and the thing is like what is really lovely about this character, and that I think Denny and the artist get really well, is the malevolence of it. Like it feels like this is somebody who, despite the fact that he is always seeking judgment or justice, um, it feels like someone who is touched by evil, right? He feels like a malevolent force, right?
Right.
And I think that just seeps out of these books.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the shadow in many ways is both a precursor and influenced by Batman, because I think it originated in pulps before Batman occurred, but then Batman got as or more popular, and you see a lot of bleeding in between them. Um, and if
Well, I
anything, the
mean,
shadow falls on like the opposite side of the coin, where it's like Batman, you feel is ultimately good no matter how brutal he gets. The shadow, you're like, I think he's good.
mhm. Well, I mean, and we know
That laugh.
for a fact that Bill Finger plagiarized the Shadow story for the case
Right.
of the Chemical Syndicate, the very first Batman story. I mean, and the very early Batman books, you had Batman pulling out a gun and blasting people,
Right.
just like the
Right.
Shadow.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that,
I,
and there are moments in these books where I'm like, oh, okay, that's a Batman bit that Denny just recycled, you know. Like there's some moments of like, what was the one issue where they're on the tightrope or they're on the cable, and it's issue 9 where they're
Over the
fighting
falls.
over the falls, and you're like, I mean, like, I certainly think that I certainly feel like the Shadow is a physically intimidating and dominating character. I never thought of him as a particularly acrobatic or agile one, He feels kind of like a sledgehammer.
oh my God.
I
Sledgehammer.
mean, actually,
Oh,
that's
was that a
something.
sledgehammer reference to the TV show?
Well, I
Or
mean, you can take it any way you want, but
because thinking of the shadow as sledgehammer,
sledgehammer.
I'm gonna be thinking about that one for a while.
So that just took me in a different tangential direction, though. Like the different shadows I've read, and even a little bit in these 12 issues, um, are kind of inconsistent, or inconsistent isn't even the right word. It's more, um, you have the mystery of his origin, but you also have the mystery of what's science and what's mystical.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think also, and this is sort of taken from the pulp novels, and I loved how uh, Denny incorporated it into every splash page. I certify the events related herein to be true. The Shadow.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay. Do we know? I don't know. What is this? What is this? Is that a folk tale? and we already know. We know the Shadow is a unreliable narrator, right? Because he's got a million different disguises and personalities that he can use. So how do we know this story is,
Right.
anyway, and
Well,
I go ahead.
oh, I just wanted to point out before we got too far afield, we were talking about issue 11, uh, the Avenger and Justice Incorporated. There is a shout out in there to Detective Comics #1,
Mm-hmm.
uh, one of the, uh, and it is a Yellow Peril. I mean, there are two Yellow Peril issues in this run,
Right.
um, but he is reading Detective Comics #1 with
Yeah.
the Fu Manchu cover drawn by Ben Sullivan. So,
Right. Gee, who played Vin Sullivan in
I
the?
don't know. I heard he was really good.
Yeah, he was. He was fantastic.
I thought it was Bill Gaines
Oh,
came
that
back from
guy
the
was
dead.
great.
That's a weird guy.
He's a weird guy. You should
Look at
see.
us. Look at
Very
us
weird
throwing out
guy.
jokes for the 8 people in the audience who may have seen my plays.
Right. Who knew that Vince
Available for
Sullivan,
purchase now
Carmine
at your finer
Infantino, and Bill
bookstores.
Gaines had so much in common?
And Carmine Infantino. Honestly, you know what? Actually, I would have loved to have seen Carmine do one of these. I mean, like Carmine has this very style, especially once he got into the 70s and 80s, He had that super stylized kind of style. But it might have been interesting to see. It's probably a little too clean. It's sort of like the idea of because we had talked about this. We talked about this in the last Fourth World book club we did. How, that monster story in there felt a little outside of the Kirby style, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Something about those sharp edges that Carmine always drew in the later years. Because in a way, sorry, I'm getting off topic now, but I always think about like when I think of Star Wars comic books, I think of Carmine Infantino's art. Because he took over. It was
I know at
Chameleon.
least one person who will be happy for you to say that because he likes to be associated with them as little as possible.
Oh, Howard Chaykin.
I wasn't even going to say his name. I didn't want
Oh,
to. Howard, if you're listening, that wasn't me.
Well, I thought Howard did a fine job, but it was clear, as he has said in numerous occasions, it was a rush job, and it looks like there are many points during the original film adaptation and that Han Solo Magnificent Seven ripoff arc after, which I believe he technically is credited as the penciler on, that I felt were clearly uh, ghosted in some level. So I
look, I just have to say that Jackson T. Tuparanki and Sergiex Aragontes will live forever.
uh, don't don't oh my God, don't forget Don Juan Quixote. Oh, Roy Thomas, God bless you. But I think it was after that arc, that story with the that Carmine took over that book. And there's something I just remember, like all of the, like whenever the costumes would flare out, it would be this perfect point. And the way he drew the guns firing, it was like lines came out, then it would open up a little bit, and then the lines would continue. And I there's something about that every time I think about Star Wars comic books, I think that's what a Star Wars comic book should look like. Anyway,
Fair.
these, what is it, 12 issues I think we have here?
12 issues.
Yeah.
Um, uh, these are what, to me, a Shadow comic book should look like.
Yes.
Um,
And I believe I said last month, those comics didn't feel like the Shadow to me.
no.
They're much too bright.
Yep.
This was the atmosphere was correct and everything.
Yeah, no, like this cover on issue 12, fucking love it. I don't even know who that artist is.
Covers were really nice.
Yeah, I mean, even had a Kubert cover.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. There is one panel in one of these books. I just saw it and I'm gonna go find it that I have seen used over and over and over again in terms of a evocative image of the Shadow. Let me see if I can find it. Also, what I loved about these scans was that we got some of the ads.
Yeah.
I could have left them all in. I was trying to make the
File
overall
small.
thing smaller. So
Yeah,
I meant to cut them all, but I missed a few.
it's okay. I love seeing them.
Yeah.
It's good memories. Where is it? Where is it?
Well, you mentioned that cover for number 12. I mean, that's a very, moody issue too.
Yeah,
You know, it's almost like the hate monger from FF here.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, that's the Satan worshiping one, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
They're worshiping Beelzebub.
yeah. Oh, there it is. It is issue 3, page 19, upper right-hand corner. It's the Shadow with he's got a Tommy gun and he's looking at the guy in front of the burning. I think it's page 64 of the file, I think.
Okay.
Rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that panel reused about a dozen times over.
That ain't, yeah. That looks totally familiar.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen it used for not just Shadow either. I feel like I've seen it as a Punisher. I feel like I've seen it as Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, God, that's the issue with the dude getting blasted in the electric chair. God, you're right. Like this is all so like it does feel like Denny channeling. And this would have been I'm guessing this would have been about the time that they loosened the comics code the first time. Or the second time, actually, I think. Uh because yeah, they're getting away with a lot here for a code approved book.
This is
It is
19
a code.
of issue 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Upper right hand corner, page 19 of issue
Upper left-hand corner.
upper left hand corner, sorry.
with
Tommy
the
gun.
Tommy gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen that figure a dozen times
that's
over.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the issue that was both Kaluta and Bernie Wrightson.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you can feel some. Oh, and page 18, I mentioned earlier, just the guy getting shot in the
Right.
In the
electric
electric
chair.
chair.
I had to look at that a couple of times. Like, is that really what I'm seeing? Because this is rough. I mean, you see the bullets go through him and through the chair and
Mm-hmm.
coming
Well,
off
I
the
mean,
wall.
probably what it is the code said you can't electrocute him, but you can kill him.
Well, I mean, famously, the code was amended very shortly after it was instituted, because like very quickly the publishers were like, "Oh, hold on a minute." Um, but it was in the 70s that there was the amendment, and I think part of it was the Spider-Man issues with the drug story. But that was when they started allowing monsters of a literary bent, you know.
Right.
So that's when you could start doing the Dracula comic, and you could do the Frankenstein,
Right.
and Marvel being Marvel immediately did Werewolf by Night and
Right.
all of those
Right.
things. Um, so, but yeah, I kind of wonder if this book isn't leaning a little heavily on that kind of adjustment to the code.
Right.
Because yeah, yeah, God, it's so cool.
Yeah.
It
No,
is.
I'm really glad, uh, because I've always enjoyed, the serials, and I love the movie. In fact, there was a great, um, wasn't a very long article, but someone was posting, was like, after Batman 89, like people decided not that we needed more comic book heroes, we needed more pulp heroes.
Hmm.
And we got the you know the movies we got out of that were that really stylistic Dick Tracy movie,
Hmm.
The Shadow, which was also really stylistic, the Phantom, which has has its moments and has some bad moments too.
Yeah, I know, but I think actually the Phantom, you could say, is a pretty accurate adaptation of that comic strip.
Right.
And
and,
Billy Zane is all in that.
and the Rocketeer comes
Rocketeer.
Yep.
soon out of that. Not as an original, but in
Yeah, yeah, absolutely
that
in the
vein.
vein. Yeah, it
Um,
was like they thought that the sort of 30s feel that Tim Burton put into that
right.
Batman movie was what was exciting to people, and it's like, I don't know. Um,
Well, it's exciting looking back at it, you know,
well, I mean, but
and that not everything looks exactly the same.
right,
Like,
a
which is
hundred,
what I love about not to get off topic, which, what we do, but that's what I really loved about the Fantastic Four movie.
yeah,
Is
100%,
it was of a time and it evoked that time.
yeah,
And even though, I mean, I guess it's not in the 60s, it's just in a retro future.
right,
Um, but just a movie that looks original.
yeah,
I mean, that Dick Tracy movie, I mean, everyone knows I love Dick Tracy, but that's a gorgeous movie.
yeah. It's 100% gorgeous. I,
I
you
used to
know,
have that poster on my wall when I was young.
I mean, I will tell you, like, it is what we were talking about earlier. Is like I think there's a lot of those movies. Um, that the Judge Dredd movie that came out about that same time is has a shit ton of problems. Let's not sugarcoat it. But in terms of the environment of Mega City 1, it is 100% more accurate to the comics than the Dread that came out in the 2000s. I mean, like it feels like the Mega City 1. And like I always like to say, specifically when you think about those movies, like when you think about the Phantom, you think about the Shadow, you think about think about Judge Dredd. All of those movies start with action sequences that are perfect, right? Um, that first scene in Judge Dredd where he comes rolling out and he stops the block war, and he just walks in the middle of the street and the little microphone comes down. He's like, "I am the law," and we can say whatever we want about Stallone, but the way that all played out, I was like, "This is the fucking comic book come to life." And then immediately after that, he takes off the helmet and the whole thing goes to shit. But that's a different thing altogether. Same thing with the Shadow. Like there's the opening sequence where there's the guys and they're having I don't know if it's a gun deal or whatever it is on the bridge, and there's this amazing shot where you hear him laughing, and they turn around and the cloak's like flowing out, and he's just laughing and standing there, and it's exactly what you want from the Shadow. And then it's sort of like they start trying to explain the character and start trying to delve into some sort of origin, and it all kind of crumbles, right? Phantom, the same thing. Like there's a great sequence where it's like the Phantom takes out some smugglers or pirates or whatever in the jungle, and you're like, that's the Phantom. And then it kind of uh, whether you think the Phantom works completely, I do think the Phantom is better in any of those three. It's the best at holding on to what the tone of the comic strip is. Whether that works in a modern context, I don't know, but
Well, I'll be honest, I've never really loved the Phantom.
but he's the
So
ghost that
yes,
walks.
it's
Apparently,
very true.
so I learned recently that the Phantom is so big in Scandinavia
Uh-huh.
that they've had their own stuff for the last 50 years that's
Really?
essentially only available in English via um uh Australian publishers.
So now that's the kind of stuff that I'd love to read the Mark Evanier like Italian Tarzan comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That we didn't get here.
I
I've
mean,
got
like
some I've got some
the
Italian Snow White comics from the 50s that are
right.
amazing that we didn't get here.
Yeah, from what I have heard, and like I fell down a rabbit. I got to do a another thing for an upcoming issue of American Nature Presents. I got to do a email interview with the Norwegian cartoonist Jason, um, who is one of my favorite deadpan humor, dark humor, dark humor at times.
And he's from
Cartoonists.
Norway. It's like
Yeah.
that's kind of hard to do when you're going, he's the food, heard.
No, that's Sweden.
So okay, whatever. It's
Yeah, no,
Sweden,
that's
Finland.
Sweden. And no.
It's only dark for
You
half.
don't, you don't confuse Norway and Sweden. No.
I'm sorry. I apologize to both
Um,
Norway and Sweden.
no, you don't need to
No,
apologize to Sweden, just to Norway.
I'm sorry to Norway.
But yeah, no, he he grew up on Spider-Man and the Phantom and that sort of thing. And like I had no idea that the Phantom was big and I found down a complete rabbit hole only to find out that like he'd grown out of the Phantom really early too. So like the rabbit hole I fell down, he's like, yeah, probably. But I also discovered that in in Norway, like the first Spider-Man comics that came out were like right around the time that the Punisher was introduced. So like he met the Punisher before they went back and reprinted Gwen Stacy dying. So like yeah, I think I forget who the art and Sean's always the one that knows. It was Ditko Romita. Who was the guy after Romita?
Gil Kane, right?
N n
I think Gil
no.
Kane or
Because I think Gil Kane did the
Okay, maybe it was after Gil Kane then, because it's not Gil Kane. Um, it's a name that I like only kind of know, and all the
Jim
ones who
Mooney.
what?
Jim Mooney.
No, I think before
Jim
that.
Mooney.
just doing more.
Sean just likes to put the names of people he's played out.
Um,
Shoot, it's your nickel. I don't remember, but I think it was Gil Kane.
Ross Andrew, maybe.
Andrew.
Ross
Yeah.
Andrew it was his first Spider-Man artist.
Maybe I'm getting that backward. Maybe it was Ross Andrew and then Gil Kane.
Yeah.
No, it was Gil Kane, then Ross Andrew.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God.
I just pulled it up on Wikipedia. So
that's exactly where I was. You
Yeah.
just got there faster. But yeah, Ross Andrew apparently was who did the original ones published and Mark Jim Mooney was in there. It was is actually Ditko, Ramita, Larry Lieber did one issue. Don Heck did looks like 6. Jim Mooney did maybe 10. Ross Andrew took over at 125. You had Buscema for a little bit and then Gil Kane. But yeah, so 125 was the first one, at least that he remembered in Norway. And then at some point they went backwards from there and came forward again. So that just that was way more time than I meant to spend on that, but it was amusing to me when I learned it. It's always interesting to see how comics travel.
I always remember when I was a kid, the first time my parents took me to Mexico, I bought a El Hombre Araña, and I don't remember what obviously the numbering was all different, but it was the Jackal.
Okay.
And I just remember that the opening sequence, and it was all in Spanish, and I couldn't read Spanish, so I was just like, "Wow, all right." But it was the Jackal had like a bust of Spider-Man, and he was soliloquying to the bust about how he apparently I assume how he was going to kill him. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And I was like, okay, the Jackal.
No, it was actually, and this is why you should have learned Spanish. It was a very special episode of Spider-Man where it was the Jackal soliloquying about how the error in his ways and how he needed to become a better Jackal so that he could be friends with Spider-Man.
Was this because wasn't Mexico where they kept Gwen alive?
I think so.
Time? They did not.
That sounds right.
Kill Gwen off in Mexico.
I had read that they didn't kill Gwen off. I have no idea because obviously I had just got the one issue that was totally out of context of anything. But it was the Jackal, which we all know is tied directly to Gwen's death, right?
Right.
It was, yeah.
Right.
He was, he cloned her. So, because it was that professor, what is it? I always want to say Miles, but that's not true.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I feel like it's getting late enough.
Professor Miles Warren.
Oh,
Miles
look at
Warren.
that.
That's
It was
right.
Miles.
See, Miles, yes.
Good old Miles. I feel like we're now entering the Twilight Zone.
Yes,
I
feel like.
So I feel like it's time to make some sort of decision on what we want to read next.
Check something.
I know we've talked about Zorro.
And there are many cool options for Zorro. Don McGregor had a run. Matt Wagner had a run that I love. And then there's the recent Sean Gordon Murphy.
Um,
I'm definitely down for a Western, either Blueberry or Jonah Hex. Um,
I would, I, my feeling about Zorro is that we should wait until you guys get your hands on that Toth collection.
okay.
Because I've never seen those. I've read about them. I would like to look at them. I
Okay.
would prefer to wait for that.
Okay.
Technically, Zorro is a Western. So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
my vote would be either we do some Jonah Hex or we do Blueberry. Uh, Either one is fine with me because I absolutely like if we're doing the Jimmy Palmiotti Gray, Jonah Hex from the early 2000s. I'm all in. I love that book. Um, I also wouldn't be adverse to doing the early 70s stuff, but I don't think it's as good as the Palmiotti stuff.
No, if we were gonna do Jonah Hex, I think I'd want to do the Palmiotti stuff. I've read some of the 70s stuff. I haven't read any of the Palmiotti stuff, in
Hmm.
part because I just don't like the character enough, because I've read the 70s stuff. But
Right.
I've heard only good things about the Palmiotti Justin
Yeah.
Gray.
Like
So
I think that there is Jesus Christ. Uh, I'm gonna say looking at Blueberry uh purchase options for myself, as much as I would love to read this
uh,
freaking
uh,
book,
uh, I
there.
may have digital copies that can be distributed.
Okay. If you have, because I did find there is one.
Yeah. No, it has
There
been
is
unfortunately not in not really in print in English in a while,
right.
since like Epic did a run on it way back when. It's really it's due for
Yeah, because I'm looking at affordable copies of it, and they're all in French.
not affordable.
Not a, and the English versions are not affordable. So,
Right.
I mean, like, that being said, I would love to revisit Jonah Hex. I haven't done it in quite a
Well,
while.
then let's do Jonah Hex this time.
okay.
Okay.
Do we have because it looks like there's I'm just looking on DC Universe, and it was a 70 issue series.
I
Uh,
mean, I would suggest for myself, I would suggest just like
but there were
good.
definitely different volumes,
Yeah.
and even different omnibuy. So like, is there a
Let me look here.
I
one
mean, I
one that
did
stands
love,
out to you?
so I don't really have a lot. Uh, I did love the Lansdale, um, Joe Lansdale, and who was the artist on that run? You remember
Um,
the early '90s, mid '90s? Um,
Oh yeah, there was the yeah, it was Tim Truman,
Tim Truman, yes,
oh, I do love me
Shadows
some Tim
West.
Truman.
and his, which leads into Tim Truman's like Lone Ranger too. But
Right. I look, I if we're gonna do the Palmiotti and Gray one,
Hmm.
I don't have any problem with doing the Lansdale Truman one. That's not a problem for me. What I would suggest for the Palmiotti and Gray one is like I would just say let's do the first two trade paperbacks, which is Face Full of Violence and Guns of Vengeance.
Okay.
Um, so, but I
yeah,
mean, again, I'm also not adverse to, there is, looks like there's a Jonah Hex Shadows West. That is
You see Guns of Vengeance. You said Face Full of.
Face Full of Violence
Oh,
and
okay. I see it.
Guns of
Guns of
Vengeance.
Vengeance. Okay.
They're both on Comixology. It looks like
Oh,
the
that makes it easy.
Yeah.
yeah, that looks
Yeah.
like the Truman and Lansdale version. They have a omnibus edition of all three of their miniseries, which is Two Gun Mojo, Shadows West, and Riders of the Worm and such. Which I'm putting this in my wish list. Um,
Oh, and the All-Star Western Omnibus, which is to be released at the end of October.
I was not fine when they switched it from Jonah Hex to All Star Western. Yeah, I really thought something was lost for myself personally.
Okay.
Um, that's just me, but I would say like Face Full of Violence is an amazing book.
Face
I
Full of Violence.
and then and Guns of Vengeance. I think those two are really they're a good place to start.
All right.
And I actually think, Sean, that I may have bought Face Full of Violence for you for a Christmas present like years ago.
So look on your shelves, is what he's
I will
saying.
have to look.
Because there was one year, like I tend to as I have various friends who are into the same kinds of stuff, and I often find myself I'm just gonna buy this book for everybody. So
I understand that. I've been known to do it myself.
I think you and Ken both got Face Full of Violence one Christmas. It's just like I think that there was that thing, Idol of Millions, that I think
Yes,
you both got.
that I got. That I
Yeah.
I am going to take us out and then we can babble for a second before I go to bed. So,
Great.
for Mark Prott and Sean Hargrove, this has been the Pulp Blotter on 22 Panels, and we will see you after the next page.